In a small, forgotten town tucked away at the edge of dense, mist-coated forests, strange things had always simmered just beneath the surface. Shadows that moved when no one was watching. Whispers carried on the wind, weaving tales of lost travelers and buried secrets. For generations, the locals had learned to live alongside the legends. But when the skies turned pitch black for 3 nights in a row, even the most skeptical knew something was wrong. Something ancient had awakened. Four unlikely heroes found themselves drawn together by the mystery. They weren't warriors or wizards. They were ordinary people with their own burdens to bear. Alice, an archaeologist driven to make sense of the mysterious patterns she'd discovered all over the region. Marcus, a skeptical journalist, determined to prove the strange happenings were little more than hoaxes. Evelyn, a mechanic with a sharp mind for puzzles and a knack for decoding. And Tate, a local guide who had spent his life charting every millimeter of the forest, except the one place the town swore off as forbidden, the Hollow Glen. The group met reluctantly at the edge of the forest, their motivations clashing despite their shared goal. Alice had tracked the pattern to a small mound deep within the glen. Evelyn had built devices to detect changes in the Earth's energy, convinced the answer lay in something discoverable, something explainable. Marcus was armed with only a notepad and skepticism. Tate, meanwhile, had a map marked with jagged warnings drawn decades earlier by his father, who once had glimpsed something terrible in the glen and lived barely to tell the tale. As they ventured deeper, the forest was suffocatingly still. The air heavy with whispers they couldn't quite hear. The dense foliage seemed to coil itself tighter, closing off retreat. The shadows grew darker, and the group could feel that something was watching them, waiting for them. And then they found it, the mound. It wasn't formed naturally. It was carved with symbols. Symbols that shifted when Alice tried to trace them with her fingers. Evelyn's device sparked to life, indicating an irregular surge of power just beneath the earth. Marcus scribbled furiously, holding his pen with shaking hands, though he'd promised himself none of this would rattle him. Tate gripped his lantern tighter, whispering to himself not to believe the stories of his father. As Evelyn adjusted her machine to dig deeper, the ground rumbled faintly beneath them. Suddenly, the shadow cast by the lantern twisted unnaturally, stretching far beyond its source, its black silhouette curling around the group in a pattern that mirrored the carvings on the mound. Alice held her breath. Evelyn froze. Marcus instinctively grabbed his lantern, lashing it toward the darkness. And then, it spoke. Voices. Garbled. Layers speaking at once, like thousands trying to cry out, but being muffled into one overwhelming sound. The ground shifted beneath their feet and a crack opened in the mound, swallowing them into the mysteries below.